There, Victor Pross speaking to you, anarchist artist. Okay, today I'd like to talk about a fun little subject, religion. I know I might be considered to be in one of those controversial camps because I am an atheist, and I guess we're going to deal with that topic today. And the title of the video, as you can see, is Children Are Atheists. And that's what I'm going to elaborate upon today as one aspect of my talk, but not the total. What brings the conversation today forward is a response from one of my contacts on Facebook. There's no point in mentioning her name, just suffice to know that it's a contact and friend of mine on Facebook who responded to the video God and Government's Twin Evils of Falsehood. And I'll just read like a little snippet of her objection. Not so much of an objection, but kind of like maybe introducing a different perspective that I should consider. Now, here she writes, I think there is a crucial philosophical difference between having a faith system and a governing system. Those who believe in a deity or higher power do so of their own choosing. And she goes on to say that the state is contrary to that because the state simply imposes laws, and they're enforced by guys in blue suits that have tasers and guns and whatnot. And the lawmakers make the laws; they are to be enforced. Doesn't matter if they're despotic, irrational, unjust, stupid, dictatorial, tyrannical laws. Doesn't matter. They've been created and implemented, and they are enforced, and punishments or rewards come accordingly. So, and that's the difference between that she's trying to make between those who believe in God, that they do so voluntarily. There's a community in which like-minded people come together to enjoy bake sales and bingo and communion and basically maybe Bible studies and to volunteer with each other. That's the main point here. And whereas the state is a matter of laws and edicts and brute force, taxation, theft, inflation of the dollar, counterfeiting, arrest, kidnapping, killing, and so forth, which they call legal, or execution or whatnot. I mean, this is the state, okay, and she's trying to illustrate the difference between those two. So, where am I coming from when I say that? When I talk about God and government and refer to them as twin evils of falsehood, I'm giving them both equally an equal bitch slap, okay? But she's trying to say that, whoa, is that is that really just, and is that appropriate, and is that that's true? Well, I mean, certainly it is. There is a big difference, of course, between those who voluntarily assemble together, whether it be because of their atheists or navel gazers or the Fred Flintstone Moose Lodge or whatever the case may be, or assembling together and come together in communion and do conversation or social purposes and do it so voluntarily. That's fine. But the real issue here, we can't get all caught up in the details, okay? We have to step back and look at the fundamentals, okay? I mean, the details are important. They do paint the picture and do all of that, but what they're painting the picture of is the fundamentals. Otherwise, the details don't matter unless they illuminate the fundamentals. Now, the fundamentals here in between voluntarism, government, or religion versus atheism, or the difference between good and evil and so forth, we have to ask the fundamental questions. We have to ask, first of all, is it true or is it false? Okay, is it good or is it a matter of evil? Okay, good, evil, truth or falsehood? Okay, reason or faith? Okay, these are antitheses to each other, antithetical. Can't spit that word out, but they are opposite. They are in mortal combat, okay? They are not compatible systems, and what makes the difference in any given society is to what proportion the society is one or the other. And from those major philosophical premises, you have the existential consequences. You have the physical manifestations proceeding from the philosophical principles. Life is a matter of thought and action. If you have bad ideas at the core, you're going to get bad results. Okay, if you have good ideas, you get good results. There's no moral, practical dichotomy. To speak of one is to immediately imply the other. The moral is the practical, and it's the matter. So this is what the fundamental issues that are at hand here is the questions of epistemology, metaphysics, reason, facts. Okay, now let's take the first opposites here. Okay, we have atheism and we have theism. Okay, and it's important to know the difference. Okay, the difference between atheism and theism is that theism is making a positive assertion. What it is making a positive assertion of is some kind of supernatural being who is meant to have explanatory powers as to the origins of the universe and the purpose of the universe. It itself is incorporeal, it's intangible, it's supernatural, it exists outside of time and space and so forth. Okay, this is you get the general idea of theistic supernatural religion. This is what God is. It's not a matter of a tangible sentient being who's simply from another planet in another solar system or anything like that, and they have 10 times the technology that we do. That is not what is meant by God. So let's understand what the concept is. It refers to a supernatural being. So that's important to emphasize. Now, this is a positive assertion. Okay. Now, the atheist. Okay, it's important to understand what atheism is and what it's not. Atheism. You take you break it down. A in the prefix. The prefix a means in Latin origin, Greek or Latin origin, without. Okay. Atheism. It is without belief in theism, which makes the positive claim. So here the issue is the burden of proof. Okay, the burden of proof. The burden of proof lies with those who make the positive assertion. It does not rest upon the person who denies or disbelieves the proposition being put forth. He doesn't have to prove fucking jack shit. It's the person who makes the positive assertion. Okay? Now, a lot of people said, Victor, that is a legal concept. We're talking about philosophy here. Well, yes, we are talking about philosophy here. Okay, the burden of proof is a philosophical principle that was adopted by the legal corpus, okay, later on as time rolled along. Its origins is in philosophy, okay? It applies to ethics and it applies to logic, okay? It's logical. It's a logical point that he who makes the proposition is required to prove it. Otherwise, it just remains an empty assertion. The person who doesn't believe in it and fails because no evidence has been provided, doesn't believe in it, is not required to prove his disbelief, okay? Or not, neither is he to justify it. So it's a moral and an epistemological principle that applies there. Okay, so that is the difference between theism and atheism. Okay, now, the title of the video is, Children Are Atheists. Okay, religion is a rank false superstition. And the reason why is because it is nothing that can be proven. Okay, it's mere assertion without any proof. And when you have that as your standard, what you are doing is you're not instructing children to reason and to reason correctly. You are simply filling their heads with propaganda and an indoctrination. Okay, because in a test between atheism and theism, hands down, atheism is going to win. And I'll explain what I mean by that. When I'm recalling here kind of an anecdotal part of my presentation is to speak of Amanda Owens, who was watching this show where a religious commentator was objecting to some nature program, about evolutionary process or biology or something like that, and this religious person was objecting to it as atheistic propaganda. So, which in a certain sense, I mean, it's not, the show wasn't about going on about atheism or anything like that. It was just talking about biology, but at least it was understood that atheism is the absent of theistic explanations of the universe, and where you have you don't have God creating man out of thin air. You have an evolutionary process. It's a matter of biology. Okay, people don't live 900 years like they do in the Bible. Okay, the Bible flies in the face of all the physical evidences, physics, biology. So in that sense, but to call it atheistic propaganda, that's hilarious, right? but atheism is the lack of theism, okay? So you have a child who's raised into this world. He has to be introduced to the idea of God. Nothing that he would come across naturally. I mean, he would come across the natural world, okay? He would discover causality and make logical connections. His reason is growing. He's identifying the people around him and how things move. You roll a ball. When you push a ball, it rolls across the floor. When you do that to a brick, it just stands still. I mean, the child learns about physical properties. He's connecting to the world, okay, to the world of tangible empirical evidence. Okay, this is atheistic at its core. Now, theism is a positive belief assertion without any evidence. It has to be introduced, and how it's introduced is through indoctrination. It's induced in such a manipulative way that the child will be browbeated into submission and ground down to a fine powder of conformity. I mean, this is precisely what it does. It's backed up with threats of withdrawal of affection. If you don't whip your ass into line, go to church. And so it's pushed upon children. Children are naturally atheistic, okay? And it's only later when they're pushed into a methodology, if you want to call it that, of faith. They accept things by, not by evidence or, I mean, what do you have when you don't rely on logic and evidence? You have the threat of intimidation and rewards and punishment and obedience as virtue, and this is how you come to your conclusion. So whoever doesn't present any evidence, you become fodder. You become epistemologically ripe to be taken over because your reason has been diminished. And you accept authority and faith. I mean, this is the fruits that religion brings, okay? Now, you can see this kind of connection happening with politics. Once you have a religious approach to life and your epistemological approach, accepting things on faith and superstition and whatnot, where evidence is distinctly lacked in the system, you have demagogues who are charismatic and give you the good old grand mindfuck, defying logic at every corner. This is precisely what religious pundits and secular authorities do. So it's not a matter of like looking at minutia and little small speckled details, inconsequential details, because your aunt Mima, she's a religious person, don't you know? She loves Jesus Christ, and she brings you cookies every Sunday, and she's so nice. But that that airport security guard, gave me the old finger up the ass, and I got fucked over by the IRS. So yeah, the state is bad, but religion's good. Well, okay, no, both are bad. Okay, both are false because of the fundamental irrationality that lies at the heart of both of them. So maybe I'll do a second video of this, but I hope that I've broke some ground. Victor Pross, anarchist artist. Pop goes the culture.